For joining us on the Ghanaian Farmer YouTube channel. My name is Enyunam, and seated next to me is Abba Agri. She's the farm manager at Flow Cell Farms. Abba, thanks for joining me. When we say farm manager, who is a farm manager?
Good question. A farm manager is someone who takes charge of the farm. So everything involved at the farm is dependent on the farm manager. Day-to-day running, employment of staff, and somehow also the financial part is all sitting on the head of the farm manager.
Okay.
So as a farm manager, you are supposed to plan your day-to-day activities. When you have short of staff, you have to make sure you are replacing them on time so that the workload does not double. When you need tools for the farm, it has to come through you. They tell you what they need and through their supervisors, and then you arrange it for them.
Okay.
So it's like a workload on its own.
Okay. What time do you report to work?
8.
8 in the morning.
I get to work.
Is it the same as your employee?
No, they get to work by 7:30.
Okay. Yeah. So on a typical day, how is your activities like? Like today, for instance, you did collection of fries and eggs. Run me through your typical day.
We have varying activities every single day.
Okay.
But we know that for every 2 weeks, it's time to collect fries and eggs. But apart from that, the fry and egg collection, we know that in every week we are supposed to transfer fish from the hatchery to the nursery, and sometimes in between we have to wash ponds, clean, and go and check for like sex tilapia, male, female. I think basically that's what it is for
typical day.
Yes, a typical day.
Okay. You mentioned record keeping.
Yeah.
What and what do you report, and is it necessary? I'm a fish farmer here. What are records for?
Every single record is important on a farm.
Okay.
Because you need to know what you are putting in and what you are getting out.
Okay.
When it comes to the activity we saw us do today, the fry and egg collection, if we don't know what we put in the pond, we are not sure what we are going to get out. And if you have an idea what you have put in, as a farmer, it helps you to make assumptions, because everything is based on assumptions. You will have to assume that, if I put in one fish, what number am I going to get back? And based on that assumption, you can make certain projections, because you need the projections if you want to go for a loan. It's all dependent on your projections. If you cannot project, then it means that you'll be out of business even before you realize it. So we record mortality. I need to know how much fish is dying at what point in time, because there are times in the year where you have series of mortality. There are times in the year where you have everything working out perfectly for you. So if you are not recording that data, when your mortality begins to peak, it might seem normal to you, but it's actually a time when things are getting out of hand. So you have to take that data. We take data for feeding. How much feed are you putting in? I need to get something back out. If I put 10 kilos in and I get 10 kilos out, I will not be satisfied. Meanwhile, I know you have used a certain amount of feed I have purchased. Feed is very expensive. So I'm giving you that to gain weight in return. So if I give you 10 kilos and I get 25 kilos in return, I'm like, they've converted the feed I gave to them to body weight.
Right.
So we take all of that data. We also take data for stocking. How much fish are you moving? How much fish are you taking from the hatchery to the nursery, from the nursery to the grow out? We take that data as well. We take data on reporting. What time did you report to work? If you don't come to work, I take the money, because
are they paid on weekly or monthly?
No, we pay on monthly basis. But the agreement is you work for me for a month and I pay you. But sometimes in between, people choose to use the day to run their own personal. So then I assume that day you did not come to work. So yes, I have to either get people from town to come and substitute for you, or put pressure on the boys to do your job.
I see. So now, the staff strength you have, how many staff strength do you have?
Currently we have about 32 or 35.
32.
Yeah.
What is supposed to be the background of people I should recruit for my farm in case I'm into catfish or tilapia? What should be the background? Are they
Well,
totally novice, or they should be people who have had a background in fish farming or fishing in general?
I think that the problem is not with the background, though it matters. I know of farms that don't have the skilled, let me say, the educated people,
Yeah.
but are still equally doing very well.
Okay.
I know of farms that have skilled people, but are not so good. I see it more of a management thing. If you have skilled people, it's a plus. It means that you have to put less stress on yourself as a manager, because you can only give them instructions and then you are sure it's going to be done. But in cases where you have less skill, it means that you have to be on them all the time. So if you are to recruit people for your farm, it should be a blend. You should have a bit of skilled people and a bit of unskilled, like uneducated people mixed together, just so that the work could flow properly. Because you are not expecting someone who is going to uni. So they say like, I have been to uni, I don't see why I should go into a pond. I don't want to do that kind of job. But someone who is uneducated or an illiterate hasn't seen anything wrong. He's working for his money. So when you have that blend and the relation between them is good, I think that the farm should be good.
Talking about education, what's your educational background?
Well, I have a BSc from UCC in Fisheries and Aquatic Science.
Okay.
Then currently I'm pursuing an MPhil at the university.
And you're also nursing your baby.
Yeah.
Viewers, I'm going to show you Afi, my pretty Afi, for you to see Afi. Okay, Afi was lying somewhere when the mother was busy. Can you imagine? All right. How do you manage the ego and attitude of each of your workers to ensure that at the end of the day, the goal is achieved?
Personally, what I like to do is when the week is about to end, I speak to the various supervisors. I want to have an idea what the activity for the following week is going to be like. Because once we have an idea, sometimes people from the hatchery need to go help people from the nursery, people from the nursery need to help people in the hatchery. It's because we know it's one big farm. We need to help each other when it gets to that point.
Okay.
So once I have an idea what the activity is, we know how to structure it. Okay. Also, we have a code of conduct in place, and every single person knows that once you fault, I don't have to tell you. As long as you have penned down or signed on that code of conduct, it means that if you go against it, I have the right to take your money. And I realize people value their salary so much. So if I have tied your behavior to your salary, then you attempted to behave well. So like in the case I tell them, if you mess with, I'll take from your salary. Okay. We used to have a finger painting machine. I don't need to come and ask you. If you get to work, you know that you have to clock me. If you tell me you forgot to clock me, when we are going to pay salaries, I'm not going to come and ask you, did you remember to clock me? The financial secretary only has to officer has to just check and then come and tell me, okay, this person didn't come on this day, didn't come on that day. Should I take? I'm like, go ahead and take the money. Wow. That way, I realized that when we tried that once, people became straight after.
I see.
So that's how we manage it.
Wow.
And if you fault, you know that we are dealing with live organisms. You're supposed to pay attention.
Right.
You cannot say you did not see this happening. So once you make a mistake and something happens, we have to deal with you. And everything is around either your salary or your bonus or something.
Wow. Yeah. This is an elite manager, man. My goodness. Now tell me about today's activity. On a total, how many eggs and how many fries were collected?
Well, today we collected from only 5 ponds.
Okay.
And we had a total of 250,000 fries.
250,000
fries. And then we had about 2 kilos of eggs, about 300,000 or 307,000
of eggs.
Okay. So if you convert the kilo into an assumed hatching figure, then that should give us 307,000. Okay,
so I saw you doing something called grading.
Yeah.
You were separating the smaller flies from the ones that are a bit bigger. Why did you do that? Because they are all tilapia at the end of the day.
Yes, we are all human, but some of us are bigger than the others.
Okay.
And they always say that yeah.
So
it means that if you allow the smaller ones that are the fries from, and then the fingerlings together. The fingerlings would eat on will eat the smaller ones.
Okay.
So there's going to be too much cannibalism. There's going to be too much competition.
Okay.
And you are trying to get them to grow equally. So you have to grow them separately. So when we separate them, you can move all the fries to one side, and then you can move all the fingerlings also to one side. And then we allow them to grow separately.
Okay.
And moreover, when the fingerlings are in there, at the end of the day, you will have them grow bigger, and then the small ones grow small, like still remain the same.
What happens to the eggs then?
And we have an incubation room.
Okay. I
set up
saw a
to-
gentleman over there.
We just try to make it like simulate it to look like how the eggs would have been turned and if they were in the mother's mouth.
All right.
So we just try to give it that kind of similar
feel.
Yes.
So they can hatch on their own.
So
how long will it take to hatch?
If we have good temperatures, 3 to 5 days should be enough.
Okay.
Because the egg hatching is all temperature dependent, temperature and water quality.
But
Once
at
you
that
have
level, do you feed them?
No.
You don't feed
We
them?
don't.
Okay. Let me take you back. Wrapping up the interview. For a fish farmer or a farm owner who is hoping to recruit a manager to manage the workers on the farm, what should they be looking at? What would be 3-5 tips would you give to the farmer
To recruit a farm.
Exactly.
Educational background is
Okay.
important. That's number one. The skill is also important.
Okay.
Personal relation is also important because when I say personal relation, me being a female, you realize that I seem to be the only female here, and the rest are all guys.
Yeah.
Yes. And irrespective of the educational background, I don't mind how I blend with them because there are times when we have to work. And you find yourself on the floor with them, you'll be having conversations and we are working. Because I know how I can get my results from them.
Okay.
If I sit in the office, they can come back and tell me, you couldn't do it.
I was about asking that. You are the boss. I mean, at the end of the day, hey, you did. Why would you give me orders and you were getting involved? Because I saw you standing there the whole about 2-3 hours and you're working with them.
Yeah, I like it that way.
Okay.
It's just an opportunity for me to blend with them.
Okay.
And for us to talk something about fun issues we'll be discussing while we are working. And it makes it easy for them to walk to you and tell you if they have a problem.
Right.
If I sit in the office all the time and, hey, do this or do that, they will not be confident enough to open up to you even when they see something go wrong.
Okay.
And I like it that way also because I give them the opportunity to tell me what they think about an activity before we do it.
Right.
So before some activities, I'm actually confused myself. But I ask them, we have this major activity, and this is how I'm thinking we'll go about it. What do you think? Then they give me their ideas too. I just then we blend all of it.
Okay.
Then we go for the activity.
Nice.
That way, the result is perfect. My boss always tells me, one team. 100% efficiency, 0 errors. So if we become one team, we all put in our efforts.
Exactly.
We are
To
very sure
ensure
that
that-
there will be no errors.
Nice. Oh my. I'm enjoying this interview. But how much?
How much what?
Is the salary off? Oh, please. I'm not saying make sure your own. I'm only to give you a fair idea of workers, including managers, so that my farmer out there, I have a lot of that experience who watch my show.
Okay.
And they'll say, you know, you didn't ask, how much did you pay? And you provide them accommodation, you give them feed, do you feed them
You
as
feed
well?
them?
You feed them.
Yeah, we feed them once
Lunch
every day.
or breakfast?
Lunch.
Okay. And then accommodation?
People who come from, who are out of the water region, like myself and other people, when we joined, we were given accommodation for, I think, 2 years.
Okay.
But with time I got tired
Your
of
own
it, so I
place.
moved out of it.
Okay.
And I got my own place.
Okay.
But if you are from, like you are out of Accra, yes, you will find accommodation.
So already, how much should I pay this fine man if he's working for me?
Depends on his job description.
Okay. Hey, so your job description
Yes.
tells
Yes.
how much.
Your job description should tell me how much. Your level of education is important.
Okay.
Your job description tells me how much I should pay you.
Okay.
You cannot be a weeder here and expect me to pay you same salary as a supervisor or as a feeder. Your job description should tell me how much to pay you, because a feeder cannot take same salary as a feeder or as a security. So we look at
The various
yes,
roles they are
the various
playing.
roles you are playing,
Right.
then you pay
That
according to them.
informs.
Yeah.
Okay, sweetheart, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate this. Guys, if you want more, your social media, are you on social media? Flosel?
Facebook. Yeah, Flossel. We are on Facebook with the name Flossel Farms.
Okay.
Yes.
Any number that, in case, this my people, they will, any number, any number, or maybe the company
Yeah,
number.
I can give on our Facebook page. We have the CEO's number.
Okay.
0244 889584.
All right.
Yeah. So you can contact us on Facebook, Flossel Farms. On YouTube, Flossel Farms.
Okay.
I think these are just the two.
Yeah, you go on YouTube too.
Yes.
You want to take my way or what?
Yes,
Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. But remember to subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe. And when you're watching, you see commercials, don't skip. That is the only way we are from Accra and we are in the Volta region. That's the only way we sustain the production. So please don't skip the ad, but continue watching, continue subscribing, and share the link with everybody. We love you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, I feel it's coming. So see, this is our best daughter. Okay?